Another day of surviving Jian Jungkook. I was just trying to get to my locker, heads down, headphone in. I didn't even see him come in until his shoulder slammed into mine. Not hard enough to knock me out, but just enough to make me stumble and drop my textbooks. His friend snickered behind him, and I felt the familiar sting. Part annoyance, part stupid and unwanted hurt. I just knelt down to grab the book. He did not move. He just stared down at me. That annoying, arrogant glint in his eyes. He lived for this, for bothering me. I just stared at him, eyes cold. After seconds of silence, he rolled his eyes and stepped aside, looking almost disappointed that I didn't explode. I walked away feeling his eyes on my back. I really hated him. I really did, mostly because that he was the one who could ruin my day in 5 seconds flat. We were in chemistry class. Jungkook sat on the stool next to me, spinning a pen, not even looking at his worksheet. He actually cracked a small smile at that. Mr. Lee suddenly started assigning new lab partners for the month. I was actually praying for anyone decent, anyone but not him. Relief washed over me. Subin was nice, quiet, normal, and I started to gather my things to move to Subin's table. But before I could even stand up, a hand slammed down on my desk. Hard. The whole class turned. I stared up at Jungkook. He wasn't looking at me. He was staring straight at Mr. Lee. His jaw set tight. I blinked. What data? We barely spoke, let alone did long term observation. Mr. Lee moved on. I slowly sat back down, completely bewildered. Jungkook finally looked down at me. He didn't smirk. He didn't have that mean glint in his eyes. He just looked relieved. He pulled his stool out and sat down a little too close to me. It was a flimsy excuse. Subin was the top of the class. Jungkook was lying. And why did he do that? He actively fought to keep me as his partner. We started the lab in this silence, but it wasn't the usual hostile silence. He actually handed me the beakers without asking me. Once, when I reached for the Bunsen burner, his hands brushed mine. Usually, he would recoil and make a goodies joke. I caught him watching me while I wrote down the results, not glaring, just watching. What is going on with him? Is it truce? For the rest of the week, the bullying just stopped. No shoulder checks, no insult, just him watching me across the room and me stupidly starting to let my guard down. The truce lasted a whole week. It was weirdly nice. I was almost starting to believe it'd change. Almost Monday morning, I was walking to my locker, actually feeling okay. Then I saw them. Jungkook was leaning against the locker, but he wasn't alone. There was a girl with him. Someone new. She was gorgeous, perfect hat, perfect uniform, laughing a perfectly cute laugh. She said something and laughed, placing a hand on his arm. I waited for him to flinch, to pull away like we usually did when people touched him. But he didn't. He just looked down at her and smiled. A real, easy smile. Oh, the air left my lungs. Of course, why did I think that? I tried to turn around to run away before they saw me, but it was too late. I froze. He talked about me, to her, the gorgeous new girl. What did he say? That I'm his favorite new target, that I'm easy to mess with. My voice was ice cold. He took a step towards me, looking panicked. I did not wait for a response. I walked past them, head high, heart shattering. I ignored him. I ignored the way my name sounded on his lips. I ignored the stinging in my eyes. I was done being the fool. Later that day, I saw them again in the cafeteria. They were sitting together, her leaning close to whisper something, him nodding and listening intently. He looked normal, happy. Even it hurt more than any of his insults ever had. I am such an idiot for thinking he had changed. He didn't change, he's found a new distraction. Decision was made. If he was going to toy with me, I wasn't going to play. I went full ice. It wasn't just a cold shoulder anymore. It was a complete freeze out. I didn't glare. I didn't insult him back. I just erased him. On Tuesday, chemistry class, he slid onto the stool next to mine. I could feel his eyes on me immediately. He made a frustrated noise in the back of his throat. He hated being ignored more than anything. Friday, the library, the bus stop, the memory stung like a physical slap. He didn't get to bring that up now. Before I could see his reaction hurt me. I focused entirely on the Bunsen burner. Don't look at him. Don't let him say it's hurt. Just do the work. Wednesday lunchtime, I was at my locker putting books away. I saw him coming down the hall, purpose in his stride. He was coming straight for me. I didn't panic. I just calmly shut down my locker, put my noise cancelling earphone on, even though no music was playing, and turned around to walk the other direction. I kept walking, perfect, steady pace, like I hadn't heard a thing. Stopped. I slowly looked down at his hands on my arm, then up at his face. I raised one eyebrow, nothing else. No anger, just mild inconvenience. He dropped his head instantly. He looked almost burned. I pulled one headphone cup away from my ear. I put the headphone back over my ear and walked away, leaving him completely standing there in the middle of the crowded hallway, looking completely lost. It felt awful, but it was better than letting him see me cry over him. That night, my phone buzzed at 9:30 p.m. I read it. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to tap everything. I wanted to scream at him about Mina, about leading me on, about being a jerk. I put the phone face down on my nightstand unanswered. If he has her and he doesn't need me. 3 full days of silent treatment. The tension between us was so thick that you could chalk on it. In chemistry, we didn't even speak. We just aggressively passed beakers back and forth like a weapon. School had just ended. I was at my locker, shoving books into my bag, desperate just to get home and end this miserable week. I slammed my locker shut and turned around. He was there blocking my path, and at this time, he didn't look sad or confused. He looked mad. I tried to step around him, keeping my face blank. He slammed his hand against the locker next to my head. Not close enough to scare me, just enough to stop me dead. I finally looked right at him. The anger in his eyes matched my own. The ice finally cracked. I could not hold it anymore. Silence, absolute stunned silence. The anger drained right out of his face, replaced by total confusion. Tears were stinging my eyes now, and I hated it. I hated him seeing me like this. I tried to push past him again, but he grabbed my shoulder, not rough, just firmly, like he had to hold me there just to make sure he was hearing this right. Laugh. It was frantic, breathless, and unbelievable laugh. He shook his hand, still looking at me like I was crazy. My turn to freeze. My brain screeched to a halt. I stared at him, cousin, the arm touching, the whispering. They were related. Oh my god, I'm the biggest idiot on this planet. Breath, finally looking into my eyes, the arrogant, confident Jungkook was completely gone. He just looked terrified. The hallway suddenly felt very quiet. I just stared at him, my heart hammering against my ribs.